Hey y'all, it's me Marty. Welcome to another video. And in this video, I'm just going to share some quick tips about scroll sawing. So I decided to do a little quick tips video series, just some different videos on different subjects, and just share some quick tips. I know I've kind of done that before, but I thought I'd do some more again, just to kind of revisit some different areas, things that I know about. Maybe I'm going to start with a few things that I know, I've learned a lot about through the years, and then I'm going to have some other subjects that I'm in the process of learning, because it's fun when I learn. I like to share with all of you right away as I'm learning. Even I'm not a professional, but as I'm learning, it's just kind of fun to share. So there's going to be some different videos. And I got the idea from Dave at Really Big Monkey 1. That's his YouTube channel. Check him out. He's got a really cool channel. I've been watching him for a while. I've been watching him more lately. He's got a lot of bushcraft videos and outdoor stuff, camping, hiking, just a lot of really cool things. Lots of great information he shares in his videos. Yeah, he's a neat guy. He's got a neat sense of humor. Really fun to watch his videos, so check him out. And he did a quick tips, he did a tips and tricks video series on bushcraft, basically, and outdoor stuff. And I decided, I can do that too. It sounds like a neat idea, so I thought I'd do that. And title mine Quick Tips, just because they're kind of quick. I'm going to make these pretty short videos. We'll see. And so yeah, it's scroll sawing, woodworking, truck driving, bushcraft, and hiking, and YouTubing. And that's just some of the subjects I'm going to talk about in the coming videos, and just things I've learned through the years, and I just wanted to share with y'all. So yeah, the first one is scroll sawing. And I've been scroll sawing for about 30 years. It's kind of how I got into woodworking. It's the first type of woodworking I did. And I've done lots of other woodworking through the years. But scroll sawing is still pretty much my favorite. Yeah, I've learned a lot. So I just wanted to share 10 quick tips with you. So here we go. Okay, quick tip number 1 for scroll... Okay. Quick tip number 1 for scroll sawing. No. Quick tip number 1 for scroll saw woodworking. Don't be afraid to buy used, okay? You can see I have a few scroll saws here, and they're all used. So here's the thing. And I've learned this through the years. I've had a lot of different scroll saws, y'all. I've been scroll sawing for 30 years, and I've had a bunch of different ones. I bet I've probably had, I'm going to say, 6 or 7 scroll saws in my time of scroll sawing through the years. And besides that, I've also bought a whole bunch of them, and I had some given to me for free, and just bought a lot of used ones. Because I like to teach scroll sawing, and I've taught scroll sawing in a couple of schools and also in our churches, just teaching youth and stuff. It's really fun. So I picked up more scroll saws so I could do that. And you don't have to buy new, okay? If you have money and you want to buy a brand new scroll saw, that's fine. That's great. But you don't have to. There's lots of great used ones out there. And depending on your area, here in Minnesota anyway, there's a whole bunch of great deals on scroll saws. And so you can buy a scroll saw brand new for like $500 or whatever. Or you can get a used one for like $25 or $50 or $100. So I would rather buy a better, high quality, good scroll saw that's used, so it's discounted, than a brand new one that's brand new in the stores, but it's really cheap. For example, like a $500 scroll saw that's a really good one, but you can get it for $50 or $100 because it's slightly used, or maybe it's even years used, but it's still in really good condition. Or you can go to the store and buy a brand new scroll saw for $100 or $200, but it's just that's really only worth that much. It's a cheaper brand. It's the quality isn't there. So I think sometimes it's better to buy a better quality scroll saw that's used. And here's a bunch here. I have a Delta here, and I have 3 Craftsmen. I had a whole bunch at one time, and I give them away and pass them on and stuff, and then I pick up more when I'm teaching and stuff, when I have the opportunity to do that. But you can get really good deals. Seriously, I've gotten some free. I've gotten some for like 25 bucks, 50 bucks, 100 bucks. And sometimes you just got to clean them up a little bit, and sometimes they're, I mean, in really good condition. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong with scroll saws. And here's the thing. A lot of people have scroll saws and don't even know what they are. Okay. So they'll have one sitting in their garage or in their shop or in their basement, and somebody gave it to them, or they got it for one little hobby project, but they don't know everything you can do with a scroll saw. Some people don't even know what they are. And they call it a skill saw or some other kind of different, name. And, so they practically give them away and sell them really cheap. And, so yeah, you can find some really good used ones out there. Look on Facebook Marketplace. Go old school and eBay and Craigslist, but even look at garage sales, look at thrift stores and flea markets. You can find some really good deals on used scroll saws. And yeah, there's all different brands that are people. Right now, I could go on Facebook Marketplace and there's probably a bunch for sale. I bet there's a $25 one. I bet there's a $100 one. I bet all different price ranges and, different levels too. I mean, there's really, the more budget scroll saws, then there's the mid-price scroll saws, and then the really expensive ones. But they're all discounted because they're used. So, yeah. So don't be afraid to buy used. Okay. Quick tip number 2. Things to look for when you're buying a scroll saw. Different options and different things like that. Okay. So when you're looking for a scroll saw, a few things that are really important I've learned through the years. Easy blade changing, okay? So there's all different ones out there. Some of them you need a tool to remove the blade for top and bottom. Some it's like a quick release like I have here. Some is like a thumb screw. Some are really cumbersome, especially the older scroll saws. And that's the thing. When you're looking around looking for if you're going to buy a used one, there's some really old ones out there. I have a really old one that doesn't even work. It's kind of an antique. And I've had people wanting to give me really old scroll saws, and I just turn them down because if they're too old, they may be rusty, and they may, they're almost too hard to use. Now there's some really good, nice antique ones out there that are really nice, but just be careful when you're going for used scroll saw. Don't get them too old, and because some of the older ones have really cumbersome blade holders, and you have to use all these tools, and they're bolts and nuts and all kinds of things, and it's just a pain to change the blade. I just remember that early on. My first scroll saw, which is right there, it's an 18-inch Craftsman, and I'm thankful for it. My uncle gave it to me. That's the first scroll saw I started on, but the blade changing is horrible. It was really weird. It was like this, I don't know, this little thing that it held the blade on top and bottom, and you had to use an Allen wrench to put it in there, and then you had to snap it in on top and bottom, all this stuff. So that's the neat thing about scroll saw, you can do a lot of inside cuts, and sometimes you're changing the blade and doing different blades, and if the blade breaks, you put a new one in. So easy blade changing is important, because if it's really cumbersome and you're monkeying around with tools and wrenches and stuff to take the blade in and out every time, you're going to get fed up with it. You're going to not want to do it, and it's just going to make it not as fun. You want to be scroll side and making things, not spending all your time putting the blade in. So an easy blade change. And it doesn't have to be a quick release. It could be just a thumb screw. That's what a lot of the newer ones are. You just set the blade in there and you turn it to tighten it. Pretty easy. So easy blade changing is a nice thing to look for. That's important. Also, it's nice if there's a dust blower. That's a little hose that's attached, and it kind of is aimed down at your blade. And what it does is it blows the dust away when you're cutting. Okay, so when you cut, there's a little pile of dust that piles up on the wood from the blade, and then it's hard to see your cutting line. Well, that little dust blower blows that dust away. I mean, you can go, you can keep doing that, but you kind of start to get dizzy after a while. So it's nice to have the dust blower, and it's just enough air blowing through that hose to blow the dust away so you can see your cutting line. So it's nice if you have a dust blower on there. Now you can make a dust blower, or you can add one too, but it's nice if it comes with it. So that's another thing to look for when you're buying one. Another thing is a nice big top. Now this one has a really big round top. And they don't all have ones this big, but the bigger the better. You know, I do a lot of little things, you know, when I'm scroll sawing, but sometimes I'll do a bigger project, and it's just nice if you have some support. I've seen some scroll saws, and I've actually bought some just for extra ones for teaching, that have a tiny little table. You know, the tabletop is really tiny, and it's just harder when you're doing bigger projects. It wants to tip off. So a nice big tabletop. Another thing, that it's solidly built. Most scroll saws are solidly built. I mean, some of the newer ones, the cheap budget ones, some have some plastic parts and stuff, and but most scroll saws are pretty heavy. The nice thing is most scroll saws aren't very big, so they're pretty easy to move around, but they're usually really heavy. They're usually steel or cast iron, or, you know, they're really heavy. But that's good. You want it solidly built, and it being heavy kind of goes to the next thing. Because it's heavy and solidly built, it makes it so the vibration is low, okay? So some scroll saws vibrate a lot from the motor, and if it vibrates a lot, then it's hard to follow your cutting line, and it's hard to cut if it vibrates too much. And you're like, oh, and pretty soon you get done scroll sawing and you're still vibrating. So low vibration is important in a scroll saw. So if you get a used one or a new one, try it out if you can, just to see how it cuts and what the vibration's like. And if it's solidly built and it's heavy, then that's going to cut down on the vibration. Let's see. Yeah, if another thing to look for, it's nice if it comes with a stand. When I bought this one, this is a used one. Again, this was $400 or $500, and I think it was like $150 when I bought it. Came with a big, heavy, solid stand. A lot of them don't come with stands, but if it does, that's great. You know, look for one that comes with a stand, or you can make one. So that's one thing to look for. And there's different accessories, and we're going to talk about accessories in a little bit. But if they come with it, it's great. Some scroll saws have a light on it, and you can see what, you just have an extra light. That's kind of nice. Another thing, the tensioning. So I have two things for tensioning up here, and that's what most scroll saws do. You have a kind of a lever thing that tightens it, and then you have a fine tuning thing. Almost all scroll saws have that, but a lot of them are way in the back. So you're reaching back here to do that. And, you know, maybe they're underneath or around or whatever. It's nice if all the adjustments are right up front or underneath, right in front. And most of the tensioning and that kind of stuff is right, everything's right here. So that's kind of nice if you can get it up front. Like if your tensioning is way in the back, kind of a pain out, you know. Yeah, and your on-off switch, and if it's 2-speed or variable speed, if all that stuff, it's nice if that's up front and easy to get to. Another thing to look for. Yeah, just some different things to look for when you're buying a scroll saw, whether it's new or used, and get quality. I mean, you know, the DeWalt is a really good mid-price scroll saw. I had that one for years. I like that one. I really like Delta. And they have a good new one. But they have a lot of great older ones. The 2-speed, the variable speed. I just gave one to a friend in Alabama. And this is a Delta. This is a bigger Delta. So there's a lot of really good Delta saws that are really good. So I like DeWalt. I like Delta. Craftsman has a bunch of good ones, small ones and bigger ones. Those are the three that I really like. I mean, if you get in the higher price scroll saws, RBI and Hagner and Eclipse and Excalibur, there's a whole bunch of, those are like $800, $1,000 scroll saws. You don't need one that good, unless you're making a living with it. But then there's a lower budget ones. The Wen, I think, is one of the newer ones. There's Ryobi and Dremel. There's some other, those are a little bit cheaper, and I've had a lot of those, and they're not that great. They're okay, but yeah, so look for good quality. Yeah, the DeWalt, Delta, Craftsman, those three are pretty good for mid-price ones, for whether they're new or used. But yeah, that's some of the main things to look for when you're buying one that I've found. Yeah. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Jeez. I gotta fix this or get a new tripod. Anyway. Okay. I'm trying to do some different angles here for each tip. Number 3, shop setup. And you can do it however you want. But this is how, just some tips, some quick tip number 3, a few things that I do for shop setup. I like to have my scroll saw, like I said, on a stand. So if it doesn't come with a stand, I'll build one. And when you see my other scroll saws in the garage, they were all on carts, stands. They're wood, and just really easy to build. You know, they're, what are they, 18 inches by 2 feet by 3 foot high, just 2x4 stands, you know. And so if the scroll saw doesn't come with one, I usually make one, and they're really easy to make. You can also just clamp or screw down your scroll saw onto a workbench. If you're going to move it around, I mean, I guess you can keep it portable, but it's nice to have a designated place for it in your shop. But yeah, I like to have my scroll saw on a stand. Another thing I learned years ago, I tilt the back of my scroll saw. Okay. And now I think companies are learning that that's a good thing, to have the back of your scroll saw tipped up so that the front is down more. Because then when you're sitting here like this, you're looking down at your project. Okay, here, let's move this over here. Oh, for the love of Pete. Anyway, so my tripod wants to tip the thing. Anyway. Okay, so you got something you're making here. Okay, I got a Jesus word. And you're like this. If the scroll saw is on a stand or on a bench, whatever, and it's just flat, then you lean forward. You got to lean forward like this and see where the blade is, where your cutting line is. But if the back of the scroll saw is tipped up, then your front is lower, then it's easier to just see it like this. You know, you're looking down. You don't have to hunch over so much. It's more comfortable. Having that back tipped up tips the front down, and then you're looking down at your wood, and it's easier to see the cutting line. I'm just going to sit here now that I move. Let's see, what else? I always put mine on wheels. So if it comes with a stand, or if I build a stand or whatever, I'll put the stand, cart, whatever you want to call it, on wheels. Actually, almost everything in my shop is on wheels. Then you can move it around if you want to move it outside. I move mine out on the deck of my shop sometimes, and I'll scroll saw outside. That's kind of fun when it's nice out. If I want to move it just to clean, or just to rearrange the shop, or whatever, it's just nice to have it on wheels. And, you know, sometimes if I'm cutting something bigger, I need more room here because it's kind of close to my little shelf here in the window. Well, then it's on wheels, so I can move it out and kind of change the angle to do the scroll sign on that bigger project. So yeah, it's just nice to have it on wheels. Another thing, you don't have to, but it's nice to sit. I think it's more comfortable to sit at the scroll saw. Scroll sign is a relaxing, fun, more laid back kind of woodworking, and I think it's nice to sit and do it. You don't have to, you can stand too, but I like to sit. And some people sit on a chair, so then they want their scroll saw lower. The stand, the bench needs to be quite a bit lower if you're going to sit on a chair. So, and most of them are higher. So I think a stool works good. So I have a stool here. And this is just one I got at a garage sale, and I actually cut it down so it fits better. And, you know, next to my scroll saw, and it actually swivels too. Oh, good night. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go get a new tripod today. Anyway, yeah, so it's nice to have a stool right up to your scroll saw, and one that you can swivel, one you can move. Just have it nice to have a stool. I also have, and it's just me, but I like to have my scroll saw by a window. So you can, you know, you have your lights in the shop, and then maybe a couple of extra lights, and then you have natural light shining in. I just like that. I like that by a window. You don't have to, but it's just the way I like to set it up in the shop. Whenever I've had different shops throughout the years, I always put my scroll saw by the window. Also, I have a little shelf here that have lots of accessories on it, and I'll talk about the accessories in a little bit here. I also have a little mini drill press here. Just lots of accessories that I use for the scroll saw are right here. I don't have to go get them. They're right by the scroll saw, and they're handy. I also have a little wood bin, garbage bin. And this is right in front of the scroll saw, so that when I'm cutting all the excess, peats, I'm not going to call them scrap. There is no scrap. Every little piece of wood you can make something out of. There is no scrap. I've decided that. So anyway, don't call anything scrap. Sometimes I forget and call it scrap. But anyway, leftovers, cut-offs, all those little pieces. When you're cutting them, because your scroll saw is tilted, and if your tabletop is clean, everything moves nice, and it'll just slide off and go right into the bucket here. So it's nice to have a bucket here for all the cut-offs, and you just can throw them in there. That's kind of how I have mine set up. I have a foot pedal hooked up to mine, so my foot pedal's on the right side over here. That's basically it. I have a little shop vac too. Now, when I had my other scroll saw in our mudroom in the house, I had my secondary backup scroll saw. I had it in there for the winter, and I had a shop vac hooked up in the house to the scroll saw, just so there's not so much dust. I don't have it hooked up in here because there's dust all over my shop anyway. But that's an idea too. You can have a little shop vac. I have a tiny one here that can fit under the scroll saw. And if you plug your shop vac into, so you can have like a multi-outlet or a three-way or whatever, and have your scroll saw and your shop vac plugged into it. And then when you turn it on, the shop vac comes on with your scroll saw. You can actually have your foot pedal and your light and everything hooked up to that, so that when you hit the foot pedal, everything comes on. Kind of neat. Another thing I like to have on my, actually, I don't use my table saw a lot. I don't have a very good table saw, so it's more of a table. I have it full of things I'm ready to cut on the scroll saw. So I have things like my Jesus words. I love to make my Jesus words. So I have them all traced out, ready to cut. And I have stacks of them here. I also have Christmas ornaments and 3D reindeer and Jesus lives and Jesus words and smiles and some of the fun things I like to make. I have them all laid out here ready to cut. I have some patterns here within reach. Scroll sawing is kind of the main part of my shop, even though I have a lot of other tools and other things going on. But I like to have things within reach. So that's kind of, that's kind of my shop setup. Can you hear the geese outside? Sounds like fall. Oh, I'm looking forward to fall. I don't like summer, y'all. It's just too hot and sticky and buggy and bleh. But you can hear the Canadian geese out there. It's actually cool this morning, ain't too bad. But anyway, that's why I'm doing this early. Yeah, the geese. We're blessed with lots of wildlife out here. Anyway, where were we? Quick tip number 4 for Scrollsaw Woodworking. Accessories. Okay. So I have a lot of different accessories, okay? Just things, well, what are accessories? Accessories are things to go with something to make it easier and to make things work better, and just things that to help the tool or whatever you're doing. So, in my shop, all of my tools have accessories, just things that I like to have to help work with that tool or to make things with that tool. And there's things you need. And some of it might be tools, and some of it's just other things. And I mean, I've come up with all kinds of things through the years that are just good to have. Okay. Now, so as far as, again, when you buy a scroll saw, you might get some of these things with it, but if you don't, you can add them. Okay. So if you don't have a dust blower, you can make one or add one. If you don't have a light, you can make one or add one. I have a little light here that my friend Mike from St. Louis gave me. I have it attached to the scroll saw. I have another light here, just a flexible old used light that I have here, just to have extra lighting. The different ones here. Turn this one on. Oh, that one's not plugged in. Anyway, just have extra lighting. Okay. Some things come with it like that, but some you can just add. Foot pedal. Foot pedal is huge. Usually doesn't come with a scroll saw, but you can buy foot pedals at Runnings, Harbor Freight. You can order them online. 10, 15, 20 bucks. And the way it works is whatever tool you're using plugs into the foot pedal. And then you have the tool on, always, pretty much. And when you touch the foot pedal, the tool comes on. The reason that's really nice for scroll sawing is you're holding your piece here, and let's say the blade breaks. Just let up on the foot pedal. You don't have to let go of the piece and go find the off switch, you know, just let go of the foot pedal. And so you can go on and off easy without letting go of your piece. I just really enjoy it. I like having a foot pedal for my scroll saw, and I might actually add a foot pedal to some of my other tools too. But that's nice to have a foot pedal. So I have it on the floor on the right side, like I said, and it's on a block, so it's raised higher. That's the accessory I have for the scroll saw. Then I have a shelf here, and I have a shelf in my window full of accessories, okay? So some of the things I have, and, you know, I just have, I love Christmas, and I have a lot of Christmas mugs. And this is a big, giant coffee mug. It's got all my scroll saw blades in it. Yes, you can make storage things to hold your blades, organizers, different things. This works for me. I have all my blades in a Christmas mug. I have 2 Christmas mugs here. Then I have some Johnson paste wax. I've had this for 30 years. I paid $5.99 for it, but it's a big can, and it's almost gone, but still, it lasts a long time. I don't know if you can even get it anymore, but this works really good for cleaning the top of your scroll saw. So if you get a used scroll saw and it's a little rusty or kind of dull or whatever, or rough, or just to do from time to time, like we have humidity here in Minnesota, so mine gets rusty here and there. So take sandpaper and sand the top of the, and I got a couple of videos on this. Oh, I have over 100 videos of scroll sawing, y'all. So go to my scroll sawing playlist. There's over 100 videos on tips on scroll sawing and how to scroll saw, things I've done through you. So go check that out. And I have a couple of videos on cleaning the top of your scroll saw, the tabletop. But yeah, sand it really good. Okay, and then it's going to get black because it's metal. You know, you're going to get black all over. But sand it really good, then take paper towel and wipe it down. And then put Johnson paste wax or something like this on it. Just rub it in and clean it up. And it'll make it, it'll protect the top so it doesn't rust and get dirty so often. And it'll make it really smooth, so your piece moves around easy. So yeah, that's, you know, that's something I have there. And then I have a little mini Dremel drill press here. And this is kind of a recent thing I did last year. I set up here because, like, a lot of times you'll have inside cuts. Like I have ornaments here that have an inside cut. So when you do an inside cut on the scroll saw, you have to drill a hole, thread the blade through, rehook it up, and then cut it out, and then do it, you know. So you're always drilling holes, pre-drilling holes for inside cuts on scroll saw projects. And I would have to run over to my bigger drill press. Well, I thought, why not have one by my scroll saw? So this is a little Dremel with a bit in there and a little Dremel drill press. And it works great. And I have it mounted at an angle right here in the corner. So I can just pre-drill and go right to my scroll saw. I don't have to get up. Sure, of course, I should get up because I need exercise anyway. I should run around the shop. Anyway, this makes it easier having a little drill press here. I have a few projects here that I'm working on. I usually have that over here, but just to have some, it's kind of nice to have a shelf. At one time, I had a little cart that sat next to my scroll saw that I can move. But I just like this, having the shelf on the wall and in the window. It holds a lot of different things. And here's a tool that works sometimes. I have another tool for the bottom of the blade on this scroll saw. So this scroll saw has a quick release on top, but it doesn't on the bottom. And it's kind of a pain. And I'm working on making a better one, but I have a wrench for it. But then I use this wrench from another Delta sometimes to help to do it. But that's just a tool that sometimes helps get the blade in and out. I have, you know, a pliers and a needle nose here, just sometimes for, you know, if you have to, you know, work on something here, to just have a couple of tools. I usually have a couple of screwdrivers here too. I have a little tape measure here. I have a couple of Allen wrenches here I use for a couple of things here. I have a little, what do you want to call it? Get in here. Good night. Just a little steel rule. So I have a tape measure and a little rule just for drawing lines and measuring and doing stuff like that. I have lots of pens and pencils here in a Christmas can. I have a little medicine bottle here full of earplugs. I have a little nail set here just for, you know, sometimes if when you pre-drill to do inside cuts, you'll want to just push this through to get the little shavings away, or if you put tape on their wood, you poke it through different things. It's nice to have a nail set sometimes. I have a little file here. Sometimes if you don't have to do this, but it's a tip I've seen from somewhere. I think it was Artisan Pirates that take a file on the back of your scroll saw blade, and sometimes it'll cut through better, because sometimes the way they make them, they get stuck in the wood sometimes when you're cutting. And if you file the back of it, so you just turn the scroll saw on and just file the back of it a little bit. Sometimes that helps. I don't do it all the time, but that helps sometimes. So yeah, I have erasers here, different things. I have just a washer. So let's say you're making a little plaque or you're making something. And you want to round over the corners, well, you can just draw it, or you take a cup and trace. But a washer works great. Put the washer on the corner and just trace it. And then it gives you a curve on the corners of whatever you're cutting. You can also take a pencil, if you want to make like a backer board for your project. So you want a backer board that's the same shape of your project, but a slightly bigger, because it's going to be on the back. Take this and just draw, you can draw around your project on the wood, on another piece of wood, and you can make a backer board just by using a washer and a pencil. So I'm adding lots of little extra tips in here throughout the tips. But yeah, just different things I have sitting here that go with the scroll saw. I have a dust mask here, which I don't use half the time I should. I have safety glasses here. They're actually prescription bifocals. I always have them on my scroll saw to use. Those are all different accessories that go with the scroll saw that make it easier, make it helpful. Sometimes I have other things sitting here too, just other little tools, other different measuring things. And I might have some patterns sitting here. Those are all different accessories to go with the scroll saw. To make it more enjoyable, and yeah. Okay, quick tip number 5 for scroll saw woodworking. Be safe, okay? So this could go on to a whole nother subject just on safety itself, but keep your shop clean and picked up so you're not tripping over stuff, and you can get to things and have things organized and put away. It just makes everything safer. And again, if you have all your accessories and things for your scroll saw, have them on little shelves so you can get the things, but out of the way. And just be safe. Have things put away and pushed in, and the floor cleared and swept, and just be safe so that you don't get hurt in the shop and you can enjoy it more. Always wear safety glasses. So I have safety glasses sitting at every tool in here, and then I have some extra safety glasses. And just protect your eyes, okay, from dust or things flying in your eyes or whatever. And, they're not that expensive. You can get some decent ones for, $2, $5, $10, whatever. Safety glasses. And like I do, sometimes I wear my bifocals, with scroll sign especially. Just protect your eyes. So that's really good to do. Always have some kind of safety glass on your eyes. Because that's a good place to have safety glasses on your eyes. And yeah, earplugs. I don't wear them all the time, but this scroll saw is a little loud. A lot of scroll saws aren't, but some are louder than others. And yeah, sometimes I just want earplugs, but sometimes I want to hear it. Sometimes I want to listen to the birds, or I'm listening to music or whatever. I have the radio on. But yeah, earplugs, because it protects your ears from too loud of noises and keeps dust out of your ears. And yeah, so that's good to have too. Or a dust mask. This isn't really what does this say? Social distancing world champion. It's got Sasquatch on there, yeah. Anyway, so a dust mask or dust filter. There's better ones, the paper ones or the filter ones or mask. Or a lot of people, go more into that as far as safety masks, but just something so you're not inhaling all the dust. And I don't wear mine enough. Honestly, I like to scroll saw outside. I like to do woodworking outside if the weather's nice. And I try to do all my sanding outside. So, but yeah, just a few things to think about being safe while you're scroll sawing and in the shop in general. Okay, number 6, quick tip for scroll saw woodworking. Take it slow, okay? Whether you're a beginner or, a seasoned scroll sawer, just take it slow. I mean, you shouldn't hurry in woodworking anyway to begin with. It's just more dangerous if you're going to hurry. Just be safe and take it slow. And in scroll sawing especially, it's an enjoyable, fun, relaxing type of woodworking, and there's no reason to rush. And like all woodworking, let the tool do the work. Okay, let the blade do the cutting. So don't go, push your project into the blade. No, just go slow. Let the blade do it. So the blade's going to cut it. Okay, it's scroll saw blade is really skinny, really small, really narrow, but it's really sharp, and it'll cut through. It'll cut nice, even in hardwoods. Quick little extra tip here, because I just noticed I got tape on here. Clear packing tape. Okay, so if you're using hardwood, maple, purple heart, really hard woods, I learned this years ago, and it really does help. Put clear packing tape on the back of your wood, on the back of your project. Okay, it really does work. Yeah, I know if you want to laugh, watch my video number 54. Boy, that was over 900 videos ago. Number 54, which incidentally has gotten way more views than any other video on my channel. It's got like 55,000 views, and all my rest of my videos get like 50 or 100 views. What's up with that? Anyway, and it's not even that great a video. It's just showing how to scroll saw a name. Number 54. But I show in there how to put clear packing tape on the back because it just helps. But it's hilarious because it was cheap tape, and I have problems, and I have issues, and it's hilarious. I laugh. I watch it and I laugh at myself. Anyway, if you want to laugh, watch number 54. Me putting clear packing tape on the back of wood. Anyway, why would you put clear packing tape on the back? Because it helps cool the blade. If it's hardwood, especially, it'll help cool the blade. That clear packing tape on the back, it's plastic, and for some reason it helps cool the blade. Less chance that it's going to break. Also, less chance you're going to burn the wood. You can tell, and if you use maple or purple heart, cherry, all those kinds of woods, the blade might burn it if you're, and if you have clear packing tape on there, it helps. So yeah, put clear packing tape on the back of hardwoods. Just a little extra little tip there. But this one was what? Quick tip number 6, take it slow. Yeah, just push slow into the blade for a few reasons. If you're pushing too hard and the blade's bending, it's going to break the blade. Then your blade's not lasting long, so don't push too hard. Also, if you push too hard, it's hard to follow the line. I mean, I have a line on this piece that I want to follow to cut. I have to turn the wood to make the blade follow the line to cut out the pattern. And if you're pushing too hard, then the blade's not going to go where you want it to. So just let it cut it, let it do the work, and just go slow. Also, again, it's going to burn the wood. It's going to do all kinds of things. More chance of it breaking. More chance of getting hurt, too, if you're trying to push it in there. You don't have to. Just take it slow. Let the blade do the work. Just take it slow and enjoy it, and just have fun scroll sawing. Okay, now I'm in my hobby room, my little study room or whatever here, where I have all my hobby stuff. This is a bunch of just some different scroll signs and tarja, and just some different things I've made on the scroll saw. Anyway, quick tip number 7. I think we're on 7. Is that 7? I don't know. Anyway, I think we're on 7. Patterns. Where do you get patterns for scroll sign? There's a lot of places you can get patterns, y'all. There's scroll saw books, okay? Pattern books. I have a whole bunch of them. You can buy them. There's a whole bunch of different designers out there and people who have designed patterns and made patterns. So there's a lot of scroll saw pattern books out there. There's also scroll saw magazines. And the 2 main ones are Scrollsaw Workshop and Creative Woodworks and Crafts. And I have both of those. Years ago, I used to get prescriptions for those. No, I didn't get prescriptions for them. I got subscriptions for them. Anyways, I used to love that, getting a magazine in the mail, a new woodworking magazine. That was kind of a fun thing. I don't know if people do that as much anymore, but anyway, if you want to order a subscription for me for a Scrollsaw magazine, I don't mind that. Anyway, I'm kidding. I mean, if you really want to, you can, but I'm just saying. But yeah, so those 2 Scrollsaw magazines have lots of great patterns and projects in them. You can also go online. You can buy patterns online, all kinds of patterns and different companies and people who would make patterns. You can buy them. You can also get a lot of free patterns online. Other places where you can get patterns, in other different kinds of crafts in hobby work and stuff like, sewing patterns, stained glass window patterns. There's other places. Just think, just think outside the box, and there's different places you can get patterns that are used for one thing, but you can use them for scroll sawing. And coloring books. Coloring books have lots of great simple patterns, especially if you're just starting out. Yeah, and just actually Google, gosh, everything. Just Google, put in like black and white Scrollsaw patterns, and you'll find all kinds of them. And there's ones you buy, sometimes there's free ones, but also just put in patterns, okay? Just like black and white patterns. I mean, I do that all the time. If I want a horse pattern and I don't have one, Google black and white horse pattern or design, or clip art. Clip art's a good way. Do black and white clip art for a horse, and you'll get tons of all different kinds of simple ones, elaborate ones, all kinds of different ones. So yeah, Google, just go on the internet, and there's all kinds of patterns out there. So there's all different places you can get patterns. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Patterns, they're everywhere. Okay, quick tip number 8. And I'm outside because the quick tip for number 8 is think outside the box. Think outside the box, y'all. Okay, so here's the thing. My last tip was talking about patterns. There's a lot of designers out there. There's people that make patterns for scroll sign and for woodworking in general. You can buy them. There's free ones, all that kind of stuff. Right. But here's the thing. There's a lot of great things out there that people are making, and this is good, but let's say there's a new pattern that comes out, and then everybody who does scroll sign is making that, and they're giving them as gifts, and they're selling them. And so you go on, and whether it's a website or just the internet or YouTube channels or Facebook or whatever, and you're seeing that project, everybody's making that project. And that's kind of neat, especially when everybody kind of tweaks it and gives it their own touch. So that's okay. You know, do all those patterns, all those projects that everybody's doing. That's great too. But also think outside the box, y'all. I mean, make some fun new things. I mean, you think about it, all the patterns that you get out of books and magazines on the internet, somebody thought those up. You know, they thought outside the box, or otherwise we wouldn't have those patterns. And you can do that too. And so that's what I've been doing lately. If I'm in a scroll saw, I want to do something new or different, something people haven't done, or make up my own. And I've made up a bunch of my own. My little Jesus word, I just made that up. It's just a word. I love making the Jesus words and giving them away. But I just spelled Jesus, and I made a pattern, and I have my little smile. You know, it says smile, and then there's a face, and I make all those faces different. Each one's different. And that's kind of fun. I have a whole bunch of other things that I just made up. My little prayer crosses, that's my design. I just made the design of it. And yeah, just make up your own things. Think outside the box. Make up some new patterns, some new designs. You know, and yeah, you can take designs that you've seen and patterns you have and tweak them and make them different and turn them into different projects. And add other kinds of woodworking to your scroll sign projects. But make up your own designs and think outside the box and just make some new things that people haven't done and unique things. And yeah, I mean, continue to make projects that everybody's doing. That's nice too, and that's fun, and we all like to do that. But think outside the box too and make some new projects and make up your own designs and custom. I mean, that's what the thing too. Those are custom projects. They're special things for gifts and to sell. You know, when it's specially made, it's custom made, and it's unique and it's special, and it's something that's not like everybody's doing. It's not like something you can get in the store. You know, you thought outside the box, you designed something new, and it's really not that hard. I mean, we're all creative. God created us, and we are to create too in different ways. And so, yeah, be creative and think outside the box. Quick tip number 9. Never stop learning, okay? So I really enjoy teaching. I wish I could be a teacher. I love to teach. But I also love to learn. And I'm always learning, okay? I've been scroll signing for 30 years. 1992, long in there, that's when I started scroll signing years ago, over 30 years ago. And I'm still an amateur. I'm not a professional scroll sawer at all. I'm still an amateur. I'm always learning. And I don't want to ever stop learning. And that goes for all areas of my life. I always want to be learning. And in scroll sign, there's always something new you can learn. In woodworking, there's always something new you can learn. So continue to learn. You know, read books and watch videos of other people that people are doing and other techniques and different things. You know, hone your craft and get better at what you do. yeah, continue to learn, because there's always more you can learn. You don't ever get to the point where you know everything or you're a know-it-all. We don't like those people, those know-it-alls. And sometimes maybe I sound like a know-it-all. I didn't think of that, but but try not to be a know-it-all. Be open to learn. Yeah. And there's so much you can learn in scroll sign. And yes, there's lots of things that have been done, like everything in the world. But there's always new things to do. And there's always more you can learn. And getting better at something. And practice makes perfect. You know, keep practicing something. You know, if you're working on a certain kind of technique in scroll sign, 3D cutting, compound cutting, or whatever it is, and it's kind of hard and it's coming slow, well, keep going, keep doing it. Don't give up, you know, keep practicing, keep learning. Yeah. Quick tip number 9, never stop learning. Quick tip number 10, have fun. Like I said at the beginning, scroll sign it's an easy, simple, creative, fun type of woodworking. That's why I like to teach it to kids. Kids love it. And a lot of different people like scroll sign because it's a creative, fun, unique kind of woodworking. And it is fun because you can sit and you can just create things and you can make gifts, and it's just kind of fun. And don't let it become a job. And yeah, I know some people like to sell stuff. I'm done trying to sell things. I sell something once in a while, but it's so hard to try to sell anymore. But so I know that maybe it is your business, selling stuff, creating things on the scroll saw, and that's fine too. But even if it's a business, even if you're selling stuff, even if you're doing a lot working on it or whatever, continue to have fun, scroll sign, and have fun woodworking. And you know, it's fun having a workshop. It's kind of a nostalgic, old time kind of hobby, having a wood shop and doing woodworking. And scroll sign especially has been around for lots of years. It's just enjoyable. You know, it was my first hobby for a long time. It was my only hobby, and it's just enjoyable to create things, to make things, and yeah. So that'd be number 10 for me. Just to enjoy scroll sign, and don't get stressed about it. If you get stressed in any kind of woodworking, go do something else. Go for a hike. You don't want to be stressed in the shop. If it gets hard, and it takes practice. It took me a long time to really learn to do it good. But if it's not fun, then take a break and do something else and come back to it, or try some other kind of woodworking, or just do something else. But just relax and enjoy scroll sign. And it is a fun type of woodworking, and yeah, continue to have fun scroll sign. So that's my 10 quick tips for Scrollsaw Woodworking. And I'm going to do more videos like this just for fun. So I'm going to do one on truck driving. I'm going to do one on hiking, bushcraft, YouTubing, woodworking in general. You know, a few different areas in woodworking and stuff. So I have a few different ones planned, and some of them are things I might know quite a bit about, you know, like scroll sign and truck driving. I've been doing both of those for years. But then bushcraft, I'm just kind of learning, but I want to share what I've learned and what I am learning. So there's going to be some fun videos coming up, just quick tip videos, you know, with 10 tips of whatever that subject is. So I hope you enjoyed this, and there'll be more to come. And if you have ideas, like, do you want me to do one on sign carving or canoeing, or, you know, is there a subject you want some tips on and advice on? And maybe I don't know a lot, but maybe I'll just share what I've learned or what I know. So anyway, yeah, I need to, before it gets too hot, I need to get on the tractor and cut the grass because it just keeps growing. It just keeps growing, y'all. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day.